You turned your phone on.
I turned my phone on.
Good.
I'm a professional. Good afternoon and welcome to this UNIFORM-Agri webinar where Philippa is going to take you through farm assurance reporting. As ever, if you've got any questions, please use the question box, and you'll also see these webinars are now registered for Dairy Pro continual professional development points. So if you do have an account, if you can put the details in there, we can then submit them. And there's a really short survey at the end. If you could take the time, we'd really appreciate that. So over to you, Philippa. Where do we find farm assurance reporting in the program?
Okay, so the first place you want to go to, so you want to go Cow's Head and then into special reports. And then if you go into farm assurance reporting, and then you've got your farm assurance report.
So this is the main report in the program, yeah?
Yes, this is a new one. So it's not been there for too long. So we sort of tried to make things a little bit simpler and do a sort of one-page printout with most of the information on. So when you first come into it, it will look like this, but we need to change some of the settings first before we have a look through it. So if you go into your properties, in here we can change the start date and end date of the period we want to cover. And then underneath here, we've got our health reporting conditions that we want to include. So we've got our lameness, mastitis, and so on. So if we select on lameness, we can then go through and select all the health conditions we want to be included under that lameness category.
So I guess if they were recording foot trimming as a health condition as opposed to a treatment.
Yeah, so you'd want to make sure that was unticked on that,
Yeah,
so you don't want to include that.
Yeah.
So when you just go through and do that and click OK. So you need to do that for each one on what you want to include. And then once you've done that, got your date ranges, you can click OK. Then this will recalculate according to those settings. And then if we scroll down, so then we can see our lameness cases, our mastitis cases, our culling rate, our main reasons for culling, calf mortality, so we've got 0 to 24 hours, 1 to 42 days, our mobility scoring, milk fevers, assisted calvings, average days to first service, females reaching second calving, average lactation number, and then down at the bottom we've got our milk quality results. So they come through from your milk recording. So if you don't milk record, that won't be available in here, but if you do that shall be filled in automatically when you read in your data streams.
So if you just go back up, I can see there we've got the main reasons for culling. We've got the top 3.
Yep.
What happens if they say I want the top 5? Where would we go to then?
Okay, so this all gets pulled out of your culling analysis. So if we go to that, so you want to go to your Cow's Head and then into costings and then culling analysis. So then once we're in here, so it gives you a big long list to start with, but you have got your tabs along top, so you can sort it by reason, days of milk, by age, and then there's a graph. But first what you want to do, again in properties, is you want to look at the period you want to look at, and then under the reasons tab here, we can select what we want to include. So if you do a lot of like first calf heifer sales or something like that, you probably don't want to include that, so you can untick those things like that in here, and then you can save your settings and OK, and then it will just include the information you want to see. If we look at it by age, so in here, to include your young stock, you just want to make sure you've got that include young stock ticked to the bottom. It's not automatically ticked, so you will need to do that. And then you'll see here, we can see animals sort of 1 to 0 month, 1 to 12 months, and then first year to first calving. And then it splits into the sales and the died over that period. And then, yeah, you can see your totals for that period, percentage of total, and then average age included on there as well.
Okay, so that's the culling side sorted. What about medicine usage?
So for your medicine usage, so if they want to know what medicines you've used in a particular time, batch numbers and the quantity you've used, if you go to your Cow's Head and then go into your health and treatments and then into your medicine usage report. So what we need to do first, again in properties, we need to choose our start date and end date. So we'll just look from the beginning of the year to now. And then make sure you save settings and OK. So then this will bring up a list of everything that's happened since the beginning of the year. And then if we go into our print preview section, so this will take a little bit of time to load depending on the number of pages. And then once it has done, if you go to the last page, so we're pressing the little blue arrow at the top, that will take you to the last page. And then you sort of got to work backwards. So then it will list all the medicines and the batch numbers, whether it was from your own stock or not, and then the quantity of that medicine that was used in that period that was selected.
And that's in print preview, not summary, which I keep forgetting.
Yes, so it's in print preview and it's at the end of the report.
Okay, and what about, we've got a fairly new report in there, health event analysis.
Yep, so that's under accounts head, under health and treatments, and then health event analysis. So this looks at all your health events. So we can see them listed down here. We've got our months along the top, and then you can see how many animals in a particular month had that particular issue. So again, in properties, you can choose your start date and end date you want to look at, and then you've got your codes here at the side, so you can go through and pick what you want to look at. So if there's any certain health conditions you want to include, you can go through and select those. Or if you just want to look at a certain category, you can do that as well. And then you can save settings and OK. And then you can see that all listed in here. So this just looks at the number of cases in a particular month, but you can look at it by days of milk, and you can change this. So if I go back into properties again, so you can see here we've got our days in milk at the bottom. So if you wanted to look at, the first 30 days and then till 100 days or something like that, you can go through and change your settings. And then if we OK, so we can see then from days of milk 0 to 30, we can see the number of issues we've had in that particular period. Or if you want to look at it by lactation, you can also do that in here as well.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Bert. So what we can, hopefully that's sort of guided people where to go when it comes to farm assurance. As ever, if there's anything we've confused you with or we haven't actually touched on, please give the help desk a call and we'll do our best to answer that. And then we look forward to the next one, which is in 2 weeks, where we are covering importing mating recommendations.
Yeah, and
you wanted to do foot trimming as well, didn't you?
Hoof data, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we hope to see you at that webinar as well.